Didn't the entire history of humankind ever strike you as illogical? The documented history of human civilization is supposed to reach several millennia back into the past. And yet if we consider the rate at which civilization is supposed to have progressed, we encounter periods of obscurity and informational vacuum following the alleged decline of every ancient empire. And then everything starts anew. Inventions are presumed lost for centuries, then reinvented by people whose names bear suspicious semblance to those of the ancient inventors. Just how true all of this is? Could history as we know it really be a collation of several chronicles relating to one and the same period of time? Apparently, this is what the Russian mathematician Anatoly Fomenko claims. He is the author of the first volume in a series of 7 that came out in English recently, and generated incredible controversy amongst professional historians worldwide. However, all of his work conforms to the highest academic standards and is backed by solid scientific facts. Furthermore, some of the most lucid minds of our time support many of the theories put forward by the authors. Garry Kasparov, the world chess champion, says the following in his preface to Volume 1. Documented history tells us of the insatiable need of human beings to make discoveries. The vector of technological progress is a strictly vertical one. Every 10 years something happens, discoveries, sea voyages, explosions, everything keeps on changing. We see constant evolution, from Columbus to the landing on the moon, from crossbows to nuclear bombs. Forwards and upwards. However, the traditional ancient history tells us of periods when humanity apparently remained dormant for centuries. Ancient Egypt, the medieval Dark Ages, whole epochs of utter stasis in human thinking. It appears that the inhabitants of ancient Egypt and Rome had a different genetic code, and couldn't be bothered about anything at all, so they froze in their development, the result being a total lack of innovative activity. At the same time, there had been prosperous ancient empires where those among Homo sapiens who possessed penchants for arts and sciences could get plenty of opportunities for growth and development. But, alas and alack, all of the prosperous ancient empires had ceased their development at some point. When we think of Homer's Troy, we imagine it in fantasy hues of times long gone. And yet the latest research conducted at one of the world's leading mathematicians proves it to us irrefutably. What we know as the Trojan War was in fact the First Crusade. We are talking about obvious parallels between two major military campaigns separated by millennia. The Trojan War and the First Crusade are but different names of one and the same military campaign. The former ended up in the distant past due to the blatantly erroneous chronology that we use. One that was created by the Jesuits in the 16th-17th century. This chronology, regarded by many as the absolute historical truth, contains many gaps and repetitions. Most major historical events as well as personalities and even places have several phantom duplicates arbitrarily dated to various antediluvian epochs and presumed completely unrelated to one another. The Trojan War and the First Crusade are a perfect example. Our entire view of the so-called antiquity and the Middle Ages changes radically. History becomes streamlined and unencumbered by all the Dark Ages, lost empires and mystical cyclic patterns that afflict the official version. Classical Greek polis become one with the medieval Crusader states. Ancient Egyptian paganism identifies as Coptic Christianity, and historical Troy, Constantinople and Jerusalem turn out to be the same city on the Bosporus, which we know as Istanbul. Jesus Christ was born in 1053 AD and crucified in 1086 AD. Crusaders did not wait for 1,000 years to punish the tormentors of Jesus. There isn't a single Crusader map in existence that would locate Jerusalem in Palestine, or indeed give us any detailed information about that region. Unlike modern historians, medieval cartographers knew the location of the Holy Land perfectly well. Sounds absurd? Not if you have read history, fiction or science. By Professor Anatoly Fomenko, a brilliant mathematician and a true scientist to the core. Unconfined by dogmatic thinking and determined to get to the bare historical truth at any cost.
This book will change your entire perception of history forever. What if ancient Rome, Greece and Egypt were invented during the Renaissance? What if the Old Testament was a rendition of events in the Middle Ages? What if Jesus Christ was born in 1053 and crucified in 1086 AD? Sounds unbelievable? Not after you've read History, Fiction or Science by Anatoly Fomenko, the leading mathematician of our time. This book will change your entire perception of history forever. What if ancient Rome, Greece and Egypt were invented during the Renaissance? What if the Old Testament was a rendition of events in the Middle Ages? What if Jesus Christ was born in 1053 and crucified in 1086 AD? Sounds unbelievable? Not after you've read History, Fiction or Science by Anatoly Fomenko, the leading mathematician of our time.